Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. We are talking about the Nancy Guthrie case. A lot happening. Is it still red hot, like some are saying, or is it slowing down? Is it right on time? FBI agents was out today. Also, Savannah Guthrie back in New York with her ode coworkers. We're going to talk about a lot. So gather around. A lot to talk about on the other side of this.
I've walked through storms in scars and grace. Smile through pain with a painted face. They called me too loud, too much, too strong. But honey, that's the reason I belong. Every scar's a scripture, every tear's a hymn. I found my worth where the light grew dim. They tried to break me, but here's a twist. I turned my pain into a clenched fist. I'm an unbreakable woman, born of fire and pearl. I shine like grace in a reckless world. You can test my faith, you can shake my plan.
Are you singing, Shannon?
Just watch me stay.
I just the dance.
I've been whispered about and written off, judged by the gloss, not the cause. But God don't build weak hearts from gold. He made me fierce and he made me bold. I bend, I pray, I roll, I rise with mascara, tears and battle cries. Don't need your crown, I forge my own. From ashes, honey, I build my throne. I'm an unbreakable soul, dressed in truth and pearls. The fire don't scare me, it lights my world. You can doubt my voice, but you'll hear my name. I'm holy and hood, and I'm done with shame. For everyone called too much, too loud, too real. You're not to anything. You're exactly what power looks like. I'm an unbreakable soul, through the fight and flame. My scars are stories, my strength, my faith. Faith in my heart, fire in my curls, forever divine. Clutch them pearls.
Coming in clutch, better tighten them pearls, dropping cold facts. Got the truth for the world, no smoke, no fluff, just the real that we trust. Hold on to your seat, cause I'm coming in clutch. Coming in clutch, better tighten them pearls, dropping cold facts. Got the truth for the world, no smoke, no fluff, just the real that we trust. Hold on to your seat, cause I'm coming in clutch.
Thank you, Miss Sherilyn. Love you so much, Sherilyn. Appreciate you. Thank you for your support.
Coming in clutch. Coming in clutch, better tighten the pearls, dropping cold facts. Got the truth for the world, no smoke, no fluff, just the real that we trust. Hold on to your seat, cause I'm coming in clutch. Coming in clutch.
Well, hello, hello, hello. How are you doing? Good to see you all. Thank you all so much for joining me. Really do appreciate your time. You could have chosen to be anywhere on YouTube. You have a lot of options, anywhere on the internet, anywhere in the world, and you chose to be right here. I know your time is very valuable, and I do appreciate you spending some time with me. Today is March 5th, 2026. It is currently 10:30 p.m. on the East Coast of the United States. Bonjour. Hello, hello, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining me. Tonight, we're talking about the Nancy Guthrie case. Red hot. Is it red hot? Well, according to some sources, yeah. And there is a lot of, momentum that some believe that they have. FBI was out today pounding the pavement, and we're going to get into that as well. Going to be talking about some of these individuals that law enforcement has done search warrants on. I want to preface this by say that they all say that they have zero to do with the Nancy Guthrie abduction and investigation. Nobody has been named a person of interest, a suspect, anything of that nature as of yet, at least. But we'll get to it all here in just a second. Good to see you all in chat. Guys, before we get started, if you don't mind, please do me a big, big favor and hit that thumbs up button. Would be so thankful if you would do so. Would mean so much. Share the live out. Really, really do appreciate you all being here. My beautiful pearls. Going to start out with some light things first. Savannah Guthrie back in New York and seeing her old coworkers and all of that. I'm not sure if she's actually coming back as far as working or whatever, but we're going to get to some of that here shortly as well. Some very interesting things. Some of you guys have emailed me, text me, and wanted to know about doing some overlays and stuff like that. Just to see what's up, and we'll do some of that as well. Jennifer Coffindaffer, former FBI, also YouTuber. She says Nancy Guthrie critical to recanvass and revisit neighbors to make sure nothing was missed and to follow up on information previously given. Lots of work to do, but this makes me fear that they are not close to a resolution. Just seems like a changing of the guard. This was out today. This was happening today. Do you guys, in your opinion, do you think do you agree with her point? Or do you think they have someone in mind, or what? Because people are saying different things. And we're going to go over that. Thank you so much, Miss Sherry Lynn. Appreciate some ideas. Aw, love you, darling. Yeah, that's right. Much love to you, Miss Sherry. Thank you so much for your support, my dear. Really, really do appreciate that. Also, Savannah Guthrie, like I said, in the newsroom today. And I don't know. I really do feel like they have people on their radar. Maybe it's just not enough today yet. Of course, you see Savannah and Hoda, and I think this is Matt. I'm not really sure this is in the studio. God, they have just been through so much in the last 30 some days. It is unimaginable. Absolutely unimaginable what Savannah and the family has been through, to say the very, very least, right? Okay, going to get into the nitty gritty here in just a second, but I want to show a few things. Matt, here we're going to go to Matt. Today is day 30
33 in the search for missing 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie out of Tucson, Arizona. I'm going to recap everything that's gone on today. Now, Savannah Guthrie did return back to New York today. She was on set of the Today Show for the first time since her mom went missing. A spokesperson from the Today Show stated Savannah stopped by the studio this morning to be with and thank her Today colleagues. They do say that she plans to return back to the Today Show. However, they do not have a specific date. Right now, she is focused on continuing to find her mom as well as supporting her
Thank you, Miss
family.
Mama.
Authorities were back in the neighborhood of Nancy Guthrie, specifically the area outside of her neighborhood. They were going to specific houses. I'm going to play a clip right now so you can see which specific houses they were going to.
You leave out of her house and go down to Camino Escalante and Camino Marival. FBI was at this house right here. That was a house under construction, and they were just at that house. Then they went north.
Okay, now listen to this. Hold on. Listen to this.
Supporting her family. Authorities were back in the neighborhood of Nancy Guthrie, specifically the area outside of her neighborhood. They were going to specific houses. I'm going to play a clip right now so you can see which specific houses they were going to.
You leave out of her house and go down to Camino Escalante and Camino Marival. FBI was at this house right here. That was a house under construction, and they were just at that house. Then they went north. They were going north. They were going all the way north.
So I find this very interesting, in my opinion, because, again, not saying anybody in particular is involved, but like I've always said, I would think it would be very strange if they did two different search warrants and one of them didn't have anything to do with it, meaning the last one, particularly with the Daily, Mr. Daily. They said here that they are doing it right outside of Nancy's neighborhood. And so the Daily home is about 2 miles away. And they're not doing it in Nancy's neighborhood, right outside of Nancy's neighborhood. So it seems like, in my opinion, it's between the area that they're covering now is between Nancy's neighborhood and perhaps the Dailies. I don't know.
North.
See, this is the thing. I'm not sure if I don't really think it's him either. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I'm very conflicted. I don't really think it's him, though. I don't know. But we're going to do some overlays. Not accusing anybody or anything. Just our little... we'll see. We'll see. You know what I mean?
North. And then they stopped right around here. Those other agents, and got in their car and left. Now, those agents that we were just following, also, they were at this corner here across the street from the church. So they were at this home here.
So the fact that the FBI and the Violent Crime Task Force is back in this area and continuing to investigate is definitely promising. It seems like they are maybe on the verge of figuring out maybe the path of travel leaving her residence with her. We also...
That's going to be that's a huge one, right? Because it is leaked in the very beginning, and it's something that we've kind of known throughout time since this began, that they've really had trouble, allegedly at least, finding a vehicle, a path out of there. Of course, there had to be a vehicle, a path out of there. An 84-year-old woman isn't walking or running out of that neighborhood. You're not going to walk an 84-year-old woman. You're not even going to get her out of the yard. She's so feeble, right? So if they have that, that will be a huge break if they don't have it already. Shannon, thank you so much, Mama. Appreciate you very much for your support. You're very kind. Love you, Mama Citas. Thank you so much, my love. Very kind of you. Really do appreciate you, my love.
Found out today that a Tucson resident who lives just a quarter mile away from Nancy Guthrie's home went to media and said that he noticed a random mug marked with the letter G sitting on a patch of land near his property, surrounded by dirt and debris. He said that it seemed very odd to him. He hadn't noticed it before, and he feels like it was just propped where it was and maybe staged there. Some people online feel like this could be a clue, some sort of sign indicating that Nancy may be in that area. Other people are thinking that this was just placed there as a tribute to Nancy, whose last name starts with the letter G.
I don't
What do you
think it's
guys think
anything.
about all of this? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
I don't think the mug is anything. I'll just be honest with you. I don't think the mug is nothing, to be quite honest with you, in my opinion. We're going to get to some much heavier stuff just here in just a moment. However, I do want to talk about why this FBI profiler says that a burglar would not have taken Nancy Guthrie. I agree with him. Listen, a burglar is not someone that wants a human. They just want what you have, right? They just want what you have. And again, I don't think this is ransom at all. At all. I can't even stress that enough. For them to take an 84-year-old woman, that is such a liability. It's such a liability to take a body with you anyways, number one, whether it's alive or otherwise. But to take someone, an 84-year-old alive with the conditions and the lack of mobility, and then you're still not, you wait 4 days until there's this alleged ransom letter. Nope. Thank you, Hamitude. Good to see you, my friend. Thank you so much. My Justin, thank you. Thank you, my love. Appreciate that. Thank you, Hamitude. Good to see you, my friend. And thank you for your support and being a member here on the Pearl family as well. Really do appreciate you, my love. And the longer I follow this case and all that, the more I feel like they were going there to not abduct Nancy. I'll just say that. I think they were going there. They had a mission, and the mission was to unalive. I also now think that these individuals, because I don't believe it's one, I believe these individuals turned off her phone and smartwatch and all that before she was unalived, so that they wouldn't know that she was unalived, if you get what I mean, as well. I think that they did that that way you know they would know, because if you turn her phone off, her smartwatch off, all of that, you're not going to know whether she was alive or deceased. If you just turn off the phone, the smartwatch, all of that, it's going to give, well, we don't know. Right. Yeah. And thank you, MS Mama, again, 5 months. Appreciate you, my dear. Justice for Nancy. Yes. I think it's coming. I do think it's coming. And Little Texas, my little sis, thank you so much. Appreciate you. In my opinion, this has something to do with more personal reasons. I agree. 1,000%. 1,000%. This is all personal. There is a grievance. And again, I'll say it. I believe this is very close to home. Very close to home. Shout out from Tucson. Thank you so much, Righteous Monkey. Love your screen name, by the way. I'm a fan of monkeys. I have a monkey, by the way. But love the screen name. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here.
Rid of the body. You got to leave the body there, and you got to get away from the body. If that's what happened, that person, unless they had a known connection to her or that location or both, that person would have left her there and gone as fast as they possibly can, get as far away as possible. You don't bring the body with you. That is the best evidence in the case. And to keep that with you, to take it somewhere else, to then spend more time hiding it, you're putting their DNA in your vehicle, you're putting their DNA all over you. It increases the risk that this offender took exponentially.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. And I agree with that 100%. I mean, this is the thing. And, I've said this before. People's like, well, why didn't they leave the body? Right. And generally, if they don't care about you particularly, many times they will just leave the body. But there are also schools of thought with people, no body, no crime as well. And he didn't mention that, but so I agree with him, but I also disagree with him. No body, no crime. But I do agree with him that this is way further likely to be someone that knows or has cared about her in the past. It is true if you move remains, right? You are making, so think about this. Every time you move a body, every time, if there's a crime scene at the house, right? You move the body to the car. That's another crime scene, right? When I say crime scene, I mean more places for evidence, right? You move from the car to a grave, for instance. That is another crime scene. Every single one of those places is an extra opportunity for you to be caught. And that's big. That's major. It's another opportunity for you to be caught and for more evidence when I say for you to be caught. Also, on the way from Nancy's house to wherever they were heading, that is possibility for data points, cameras, right? Stoplights, vehicle data if the car's new enough, phone, Bluetooths, Wi-Fi's, all of that. Tapering with evidence, just moving body, more charges, in my opinion. Yeah, it's more charges for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. So it's a bit crazy.
The only reason why you would there are two reasons why you want to remove the body. One, that's what you came to do. You came to kidnap this person. You're going to find them and you're going to take them away.
Which, in my opinion, I absolutely believe that was, the more this goes on, the more we learn, the more we hear, the way it's played out, what we know. To me, this was, and it just shows as well, this was to get Nancy to be removed from that house. Nothing more, nothing less. There was nothing that we hear, at least, allegedly was taken from that house other than Nancy. No jewelry, nothing of value other than, of course, Nancy. And that says to me 100% that Nancy was the target. She was the goal to be taken out of that house. Nothing more, nothing less. And again, if that person was there the day before, a week before, 3 weeks before, this was planned, premeditated, and carried out.
2, people know that you have a connection to her. You want to delay discovery of her because there's evidence of you on her. And so that is why you take the body away. You make that extra effort. You take that extra risk because there is a known connection.
So if it was just a random burglary, you think they would have just left the body? Why, if she died, why would they take the body?
Absolutely, no question. I mean, it would be extremely foolish for them to continue to make risky moves. To what end? I mean, if she died and there's evidence that there was a death in the house, what does taking the body away do for you? She's going to get discovered.
Oh my God.
Or she's going to be discovered missing. Either one, the alarms go.
I mean, my friend's parents were divorcing, and he was going to have to give her $1 million. So the dad paid 2 idiots to kidnap her, like $1,500. Is that what you mean, or 15,000? They found her body in her burned out car in a cane field. Any fires there? Not that we're aware of. Not that we're aware of. Which, that's, in my opinion, the more intelligent thing to do is if a fire, because that's going to hide a lot of more evidence, in my opinion. Justin, how far do you think they took Nancy? I think Nancy is most likely within, I would say, 12 miles max, statistically within 12 miles. Probably a lot closer than that. She's probably right there, just right there somewhere. But again, I'll tell you something. I really wonder about this. As I turn my studio light off, I've kind of got a headache, so I apologize if I'm not as bright as I normally am. But what I will tell you that I find very interesting, because that man was allegedly there previous, I do wonder if there was, if the goal was to rid her. I do wonder if there was a potential trigger warning, a grave already made, right? Because again, you only have so much time. You only have so much time to, after you commit a crime. And if it's not planned, people freak out generally, right? And then they don't think it through and all of that. So I do wonder if there was potentially already a grave dug that was really close. This is the desert. Everything looks the same in a lot of places as well. So I don't know. I think Savannah had an upcoming interview with Sons of Virginia Guthrie and her evidence box. Her evidence box? Oh, sorry. I thought I get what you mean. You mean like politically, like the Epstein stuff. Agree, Justin, and I think she is very close to home. Yeah, I agree. I think she's very, very close to home.
Go off, and they're looking for you. If you got in and out, and instead of spending 41 minutes there, you spent 3 minutes there and took off, you have 38 more minutes to be 38 more miles away, right? Why would you take her with you? That's not true.
Well, and again, that's why I say I think she's probably very close, and it wouldn't surprise me if something was already, again, if she was the number one that they wanted to rid of, if a grave was not already taken care of. Someone just messaged me, and I hope I'm not going to say their name or anything, but it's very interesting. I get a lot of messages, but she says, she or he, Justin, I have a theory no one has thought of on all the channels. She was silenced. I'm a retired assistant fire chief, and I have seen things, bad things, from people living in a neighborhood for 30 plus years. It starts with commissioners, meetings, and city council meetings, houses set on fire, and neighborhoods so mad at each other, others have, unalived. And again, I do not believe this is like Epstein or anything like that. But I do believe that I would say my top 3 to 4 theories is that one of them could be local politics, if you will, perhaps like this person just said, commissioners, someone Nancy knows some information that they don't want to know, or that she could have been releasing. She was a firecracker. You got to remember that Nancy was a firecracker, and she was very big into her local politics as well. It's not my number one personally. I think it's, in my opinion, it is most likely someone extremely, extremely close to her. I don't think sheriff. No, I don't think sheriff at all personally, but I do think it's very close, in my opinion. Okay. All right. So we're going to get I want to go to Mrs. Grace right here, and I want to show you something. I want you to hear what they say right here about the case, and I want to see what you guys think about this. Is it hot? Is it not? Credit's going to go to the queen of crime, of course, Miss Nancy Grace. Listen to this and tell me what you think.
But they're still trying to identify where the outfit worn by the porch guy, where it came from, where it was bought. They're putting all of this together, and Nanos was just, for whatever reason, opening that up for discussion. Nanos is saying that the investigation is getting very, very close to finding a suspect. Very interesting in the fact that the investigation is now over a month old, and yet the evidence is starting to come together. It takes time, and that's what they're really working on. So
now I find that very interesting, right? Nanos is actually, I think he's supposed to do an interview tonight. I don't know if it's been released yet or not. But if that is true, again, they thought this about Koberger and many other cases. Can you imagine? I mean, this is a humongous case, and it is truly all hands on deck for 30 some days. Yeah, it seems like a long time, but it's really not in the way the law and the justice system works as well. I mean, you can't arrest somebody quickly, but you got to remember this as well. As high profile as this is, and as much scrutiny as, of course, the sheriff, which he's, in my opinion, a buffoon sometimes, but FBI and all of that, they really have to cross all of their T's and dot all of their I's. You don't want to just arrest someone, bada bing, bada boom, right? Charity says, I think we need to follow the trial of Derek Kaella, the guy they arrested who sent Tommaso and Annie a text about Bitcoin. He also made a 9-second call to one of them. Charity, I have, and I've said this like 3 times already, I have an entire live stream. I'll have to do it a members only, but there's some weird stuff about that dude, and there's some very interesting, I'll just say coincidental things about him and others around him. that I've got, and people around him who doesn't live in Tucson, but was in Tucson when Nancy went missing. There's a lot to talk about that I can go over. Again, I would have to do it. I will have to do it at members only because it shows a lot. But there is some interesting. There's a lot of interesting things about that. And also another thing you could think of, why is he really been the only one charged as far as all of these fake letters? Why is he like really maybe there's one more charge that we're aware of? You know what I mean? Tommaso looks like the guy that was caught at the front door camera. You think so? I don't know, Hector. I'm not sure I agree with that, but a lot of people think so.
As we move forward from here, Nancy, the investigation is heating up as opposed to cooling down. The evidence will speak for itself throughout all of this.
Anna Ryan joining us, lab director, forensic DNA analyst at Pure Gold Forensics and forensic DNA consultant at Ryan Forensics. Months to get DNA match. Now, I find it really hard to believe when Nano says this is going to take months
Listen
to get
to
DNA
this.
matches.
Very
That's
important.
simply not true unless you're trying to separate DNA if it's mixed, or you're trying to regenerate DNA if you've got a minuscule amount, or if you're trying to rehabilitate degraded DNA. But we don't know that any of that is true from DNA inside the home.
Mhm.
Susanna Ryan, what do you make of that?
Sure. Yeah, it can be really difficult and challenging when we have mixed.
I don't think for a second that this is going to be any sort of I don't think this is going to in my opinion, it's not going to take years. I don't think, we're at technically going on month 2, even though it's 33 days. We're past the month mark. I do think it could take, I think within, in my opinion, in the next month, we will probably have an arrest. I would be gobsmacked if at 90 days maximum, if there's no arrest in 90 days, I would be really shocked.
Mixtures in the laboratory. And, sometimes the mixtures are kind of simple. Maybe we have 1 or 2 people. We know who one of the contributors are, so it's easier to, back out that other person.
Mm-hmm.
But when we have samples that are commonly referred to as touch, or, these transfer DNA samples where we're trying to pick up maybe just skin cell DNA, it is really common for us to pick up mixtures of multiple people. And one of the reasons for that is the DNA testing we do today in the modern DNA lab is extremely sensitive. So, we're talking getting DNA results from only a few cells worth of DNA. So if you think about it, something that's been handled could have been handled by multiple individuals. And so we're going to pick up all of those people's DNA. We could even pick up DNA from someone that actually wasn't there, but their DNA is transferred by somebody else. Someone shook hands with somebody and then tried to open the door, or came into contact with something that was then swabbed and collected. So these are kind of, the worst kind of samples, really, where we have probably multiple contributors. We can have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the number of contributors is endless, really. And when you have those multiple contributors, you have low-level DNA, typically with touch or transfer samples, and maybe they're partial. They're not even a complete profile. So they're really difficult to work with. And unfortunately, there really isn't a way at this point in time for us to be able to separate out those cells that are collected, right? So whatever is collected on.
Okay, guys, nanos, is it all out yet? Is it all out? Let's see here. Let me see if it's all been released. 1 second. I'm going to go real quick. We'll come back to this. KVOA, they just did a interview with the sheriff. Very interesting. He's brand new.
And as the investigation continues in the search of Nancy Guthrie, News 4 Tucson's Monica Garcia sat down with Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos today, asking the questions you, our viewers, sent to us. She joins us live from the Pima County Sheriff's Department. And Monica, what did the sheriff reveal to you today?
Yeah, Sean, I mean, goodness, there's so many questions that remain. Here we are, day 33. We're right outside PCSD headquarters. And earlier today, I had a chance to speak with the sheriff and take him those questions that we have received from you, our viewers, straight to him. And this is what he responded with. Take a listen.
We began by asking what role digital evidence could play in the case.
Cell phone data, pings, cameras. I mean, how much are you guys leading into that information, that evidence?
You know, it could be a cell tower dump, could be analyzing the cell phone.
So there is still digital evidence that you guys are waiting on to receive?
Well, we're analyzing all the time, yes.
We also asked about the more than a dozen.
I think, well, I mean, see, this is the thing he aggravates me to death with this. Yeah, we're waiting on everything. Well, you said you were waiting on something before, and this is where people get really confused with you, sir, because you said it could take a year before you get it back. Yeah, you're waiting on stuff. Just say you're waiting on stuff.
Gloves found during the search.
None of them had a fingerprint that could lead us to a suspect.
What I will tell you about the gloves is simply this. The closest glove was 2.5 miles away. We take the glove and we analyze it and we prioritize it. And part of that analysis included DNA. We've gotten some reports back and it's pretty much eliminated. And that was the closest one.
He says gloves found farther away, some 6 to 7 miles out, are still being reviewed, but so far none have produced fingerprints or evidence tied to a suspect. We also asked about DNA from one black glove that investigators traced to a local restaurant worker.
That the glove that was found that did have the DNA, the one that was 2 miles away, was connected to a restaurant worker. Okay, so did you guys get her DNA through that volunteer DNA donation when the deputies went into restaurants asking for that? Or?
I'm not going to get into the case and the evidence and the way evidence is obtained. What I will tell you is the glove, we had it analyzed. We took it through DNA processing. It led us to a restaurant across the street from where the glove was found. It's not surprising to us. In fact, a number of the gloves we looked at, we believed came.
And you know something, you know, and that's the thing. See, illegal. I've heard so many cases where people talk about walkie-talkie or this or that. This is one case that I absolutely believe that there could have been walkie-talkies involved. It's one case. This person, whoever it is, came prepared. He's got his backpack full. Not only that, he apparently has something in his pocket as well.
From that type of industry.
And did that person really donate her DNA to you guys?
Hold on, what's that?
Surprising to us. In fact, a number of the gloves we looked at, we believed came from that type of industry.
And did that person really donate her DNA to you guys?
I'm not going to go into that.
We asked about the gloves a Tucson couple told News 4 Tucson they found, including one they believed had blood on it.
There was a couple that I spoke with that KBOA spoke exclusively to. They actually called us. They were concerned. They came to us. We set up this interview, and they have all these pictures of a glove that was found right around the corner on Campbell.
I've heard that story. I don't know when or where it was found. I know that there was some speculation that it had blood. My understanding is that has been analyzed, and there has been no blood found on it.
So back out here live,
Why do you think that, New Filter? Just curious.
there's also another report circulating online about a 911 call that was apparently received the night Nancy Guthrie disappeared, of a woman screaming and yelling outside of a vehicle that was only about 2 miles away from the Guthrie residence. We're going to tell you what Sheriff Chris Nanos had to say about that coming up at 6.
Okay.
Live from PCSD headquarters, Monica Garcia.
All right.
Back to you.
Thank you, Miss Garcia. Appreciate ya. Okay, now, more coming out. Let's see here. KAOA. We'll get back to the other stuff in just a second, but I want to see what this FBI at the Nancy Guthrie house today. PCSD looking at the traffic cameras near the Nancy Guthrie home, analyzing ring camera video of the suspect. I mean, this is the thing. It's a little frustrating. Like, have you not looked? We're at 34 days. Have you not looked at these traffic cameras, or are you going over them again? Because if we're 34 days and you haven't looked a mile out at the traffic cameras, we're in fucking trouble.
Investigators were back at the house as they search for more clues into what happened to Nancy Guthrie. All this, as Sheriff Chris Nanos says, investigators are going through thousands of hours of video footage from the area. He says they are reviewing traffic camera video near Guthrie's home and ring camera video of a suspect. You've seen it many times from her home the night she was taken. 33 days after Nancy Guthrie has disappeared, many questions still remain. And today, News 4 Tucson's Monica Garcia sat down one-on-one once again with Sheriff Chris Nanos, pressing him on several questions sent to us by our viewers surrounding this investigation. Monica.
Yeah, Sean, all of us know at News 4 Tucson, we've been getting hundreds of messages on our social media pages, emails saying, what about this? Or ask the sheriff about this. And so today we took the most common questions and we did ask the sheriff. And one of them I want to point out is the most recent one. And it's a 911 call that was made the night Nancy Guthrie disappeared. In the call, the dispatcher talks about a woman screaming out the window, hollering for help, and this was within miles of Nancy Guthrie's house.
No, just a little. So you was asking about the Weethers. I love that candy. In fact, if I go get like a hard candy at the grocery store or whatever, it's probably going to be that.
Let's first take a listen to that 911 call.
It's going to be at Oracle and River. The caller is advising they saw a female out of a vehicle window screaming. Then it went northbound on Oracle. The vehicle was a dark gray or blue Chevy Malibu, no plate.
All right, so back out here, a lot of people have been asking about this specific call, and for good reason, right? So as you just heard, it's been circulating all over line, described a woman screaming, hanging outside of a moving car. We spoke to the sheriff about that. We're going to get to that in just a second. And during our conversation, we also asked about other evidence in the case, including the more than a dozen gloves found during the search. The sheriff says the glove found closest to the scene, about 2.5 miles away, was tested and it was eliminated. Other gloves found farther away, he said some 6 to 7 miles away, those are still part of the investigation. They're just not priority. They're still getting tested. So let's get back to that 911 call we asked him today about to see if...
You know something, that tells me a lot. Sometimes it's not what they say, it's what they don't say. And sometimes it's how they say it. They said that the other gloves is still part of the investigation, but they're just not priority. In my opinion, if they had nothing, if they had zero, zilch, nada, nothing, then they would be testing those gloves quicker, more soon, right? To me, that says we've got stuff that's not really as important right now as what we're focusing on, in my opinion. Not those other gloves. Yeah, they're part of it. We're checking them, but they're not number one. You get what I mean? If they, in my opinion, had absolutely nothing, they would be expediting those gloves pronto. So that's very interesting. You know what I mean? Oh, thank you so much, Jackie. It's very generous. Thank you so much, my love. Really, really do appreciate that. Thank you so much for your support. So happy to have found your channel from Australia, the land down under. Thank you so much, Jackie. Really do appreciate you. Welcome, my love. Y'all make sure our beautiful Jackie is Feels welcome and comfortable and all that. Thank you so much, Ms. Jackie. You guys are about to have winter down in Australia, and y'all can bring the summer on up here, or the spring at least. I'm so tired.
They had investigated it. Take a listen.
So there was a 911 call of a woman overheard screaming, hanging outside of a car the night Nancy was taken. What's the update with that?
Do you know how many times I have screamed out a car window? A lot. When I was younger, at least.
We're aware of it. We found those individuals, interviewed them. It was a domestic violence situation that had nothing to do with this case at all.
All right, folks. So you just heard the sheriff addressing that.
He was very, very blunt on that answer. No, you're not, Sassy. It's enemies. No. He was very blunt on that answer. That has nothing to do with it, he says. So we can mark that one out.
911 call that's been circulating online. He told me they, in fact, investigated it. They investigated it the night it actually happened because they had heard about it. So just one of those things on the list of questions you guys have been submitting to us.
That's a good
answer. In the meantime,
though.
he says their big focus is on forensic evidence. And so that's where they stand tonight.
But you know what else that's reporting that's coming out that I find very interesting? You know, the white, what's the white Soul, Kia Soul? Now they're saying there's some reporting that they're looking, that they haven't identified who is in that Kia Soul, and they're still looking into it. You know, is there video footage of Nancy leaving? Good question. And then Tommaso returning home after bringing Nancy home. Very good question, Island Time. I'm sure that I would hope to God that they have checked that, right? I would want to see, you know, I think they have camera footage at their house. And if they don't, and did before, that's going to be a big red flag, number one. But number two, you should see her phone leaving her house via the Uber, you know, and trailing, hitting the towers, being at the house for an extended period of time, and then driving back. Again, her phone pinging the towers as well. Good question.
On the case of Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. Live from PCSD, Monica Garcia. Sean, back to you.
All right, our viewers with a lot of questions, but also still a lot of support for the Guthrie family. Thank you, Monica. And with that, NBC says Savannah Guthrie stopped by the Today Show for the first time since her mother's abduction and met with her fellow hosts and staff there. Guthrie spent several weeks helping with the search right here before she recently returned to her home in New York City. NBC says Guthrie plans to return to work at the Today Show, but has not said when she's going to be back on the air. And as we continue to cover the search for Nancy Guthrie, be sure and stay with News.
Okay, so there's that. I think he did some more parts of some interviews today as well. Oops, is that the one I just showed you? They're all kind of, let me see here.
Chris Nanos had to say about that coming up at 6.
Okay, we showed you that. Okay.
Included DNA. We've gotten some reports back, and it's
okay. Here we go. I want to see what he says right here. That's the glove. Okay.
I'll tell you about the gloves is simply this. The closest glove.
Okay, we saw that one already.
Reports back, and it's pretty much eliminated. And that was the closest one.
He says gloves found farther away.
To me, he doesn't sound very interested in these gloves. Again, he's like, and the closest one was 2.5 miles away. Well, okay. Remember, there was a lot of gloves found. And like I just said a minute ago, when he said that they're, you know, part of the other gloves that have not, or that are being tested are part of the case as of now, but that doesn't, they're not top priority. The way he says it right here, it doesn't seem like these gloves are in my opinion, part of anything that they are needing to expedite in this investigation, which in my opinion, that tells me they've got something on their nose and they're sniffing it through, and the other things can be in the lab and they'll get tested just for evidentiary value, just to make sure that they are not involved in anything. But we'll see.
6 to 7 miles out are still being reviewed, but so far none have produced fingerprints or evidence tied to a suspect. We also asked about DNA from one black glove that investigators traced to a local restaurant worker.
Okay, we already saw that one.
And did that person?
Okay.
They have all these pictures of a glove that was found right around the corner on Campbell.
I've heard that.
Yeah, we already saw this one interview. Okay. All right. Let me make sure that there's. Why do they keep doing that? Okay. All right. I'm going to go to. One second. I'm going to go. Thousands of hours. They're looking at these camera footage now that is part of the traffic cameras.
33 days since Savannah
Go
Guthrie's
back to Nancy Grace
84-year-old
in a
mother,
second.
Nancy, was taken from her home. The war isn't the only reason that I'm not bringing it to you every night. It's because I have nothing to bring to you. The DNA, the ransom notes, the glove, the surveillance videos, so far, they are dead ends, and there's an investigative kind of reconstruction going on, and they're kind of allocating resources. Savannah Guthrie made news by going back to the Today Show staff, which is.
Did he get contacts, green contacts, or has his eyes always been green?
Is of course heartbreaking. The way she and her family has handled this, especially in the public eye, has been amazing for me to behold, and I wish them only good things. But let's talk about, the truth of what's not being talked about. News Nation senior national correspondent Brian Enton and former FBI Special Agent Jennifer Coffindaffer join right now. And Brian, I mean,
so?
You've been working it. You've been doing excellent work, but you can't report on what isn't known.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, there's been a lot of dead ends, Chris. The glove that was found, we now found out that it's not linked to the case. The DNA actually traced back to a restaurant worker in the area who the sheriff says has absolutely nothing to do with the case. Today, though, I mean, there was action. We see the FBI out here. There's a task force that's been formed since last time I talked to you, Chris, that consists of 4 detectives from the sheriff's office, a sergeant, and then all the FBI agents. So they've got a special task force now. All they do is Nancy Guthrie. And they were out in the neighborhood again today, knocking on doors. They went to several houses right near Nancy's, and then they were in another part of the neighborhood. We're not sure why. Neighbors told me that they seemed very, very focused, that they didn't share new information, but
The investigators seem very, very focused today. I wonder if they're just tying up some stuff. I don't know.
They seem more focused than last time they were here, Chris.
Jen,
a dog with a bone.
Did we expect too much? Did we treat this like a missing persons case where we expect that flush of activity within 24, 48 hours where somebody saw something on a camera and there's a chase and you try to get to them before something bad happens? Is this something else?
It is.
I don't think we expected too much. Look, Nancy Guthrie's life was in peril from the beginning.
Yeah.
And you have about
her life was in peril. I mean, we only knew what we knew then. Yes, but yeah, I agree with her, I guess, because we only knew what we knew then. And if her life was in peril, her life was in peril. We needed to search for it, but we can't always expect answers within 24 hours.
48 hours to make that investigation quickly solved. And unfortunately, that is not what has happened here. And now when I'm seeing all of this re-canvassing, it makes me concerned. We know it's already been canvassed twice, this neighborhood. It shows me that perhaps this task force doesn't think that the information was adequately gained and they have to redo it.
I've had great experience with the Cajun Navy. I was surprised to hear that they wanted to be part of this search. A lot of people laugh it off. You do not.
No, I don't at all. I actually think they need to be doing desert searches, the searches that are very close to in proximity.
Thank you, Jennifer. Absolutely. Thank you, Jennifer, for someone saying this on television. Yes, they need to be out in that. I'm going to text her and tell her, thank you for that. For God's sake, thank you for saying that they need to be out in the desert. They need to be out in that desert within 1 to 10 miles, searching the shit out of it. Grid. And I mean, hell, they got to know a car by now, don't they? 31 days. Remember, black gloves from investigator or EMS was also found at Jaden Spicer's location. Yeah, that was but Jaden Spicer's was they left. That was investigators and stuff coming to collect his body, from what I understand, and they threw their gloves down. Yeah.
To the house, I don't think anybody's been searching there. And that is the perfect thing to do grid searches there in particular quadrants where everybody knows who's searched and when. That's what needs to happen, I think, with these volunteer search services.
Brian, what are your main avenues of reporting right now?
Well, you brought up the Cajun Navy. I went through, they submitted a 42-page, really detailed operational plan, Chris. I mean, they've got 25 dogs that they could bring, aerial assets, and they just want to search the desert, and they just want the sheriff's blessing. But so far, he's basically ignored their request to search.
Thank you.
Okay. I mean, I'll be honest with you. The United Cajun Navy, they do find answers. I don't particularly like them as much as I do EquiSearch personally, but I will say, why not let them look? I mean, why is the sheriff saying, like, he's such a prude, this man. He is such a prude. Like, you should have let FBI and all that help you out in the beginning. Okay, we're going to go back to Nancy, but I want to show you this update from Brian Ensign.
Down the street from Nancy's house, the cell phone service is terrible at her house, by the way. Like, you barely get a bar, so I have to drive kind of far away to get good signal. Couple of things, FBI agent.
Yes, Serenity. Thank you so much, my friend. I agree. They should have done grid searches right away. Regardless, they thought it was just a kidnapping. You would think that. And yes, there's been people searching and all that, but there hasn't been this humongous search like they normally do. And this is the thing. If you thought she was potentially in the sewer, or you was looking in the sewer, why not do some grid searches too, right? Because you don't know what you don't know. And if she's out there or was put out there or whatever, why not do it? I totally agree with that. I'm surprised Enton hasn't left. I know. I'm wondering, does he got like a source that's like saying, like, just hang around? Because you would be surprised what some investigators or police will say off the cuff sometimes.
And the detectives from the Pima County Sheriff's Office were back out in the neighborhood today. We saw them going to neighbors' houses. I talked to one of the neighbors who said they just seemed more focused, that they were asking a lot of the same questions, but seemed more focused. Remember, there's this task force now that's been established. It's 4 detectives, a sergeant, plus all the FBI agents. They're all in one task force just working on Nancy Guthrie.
Local.
I mentioned cell phone service. Interesting. I interviewed Heather and Jared Barnhart, who are the digital forensic experts who basically cracked open Brian Koberger's cell phone. And I wanted to see what they thought about the Nancy Guthrie case. They had some interesting points. One, I tell you how there's like no cell phone service at her house. That could be an issue in terms of tracking the cell phones that were in the area, which I hadn't thought about. Also, they have an interesting...
Hold on, really? Wait a second.
One, I tell you how there's like no cell phone service at her house.
What do you, wait a second. Wait a second. There's no cell phone service at Nancy's house? Yeah, of course, Babs, yeah. No cell phone service at Nancy's house? But, okay, this is the thing I don't understand. JLR was on the phone, his cell phone today while he was live. First time hearing that. I've not heard that. Not good cell phone service, but still. But I'll be honest with you, I don't think that the person or persons that abducted Nancy is going to keep their cell phone on anyway. You know what I mean? So that's just me. That's just me. Sunflower Mom, thank you so much, my love. Appreciate you. Welcome to the Pearl family. Welcome, my love. Good to see you. Appreciate you. Welcome, Sunflower Mom. Love your name. Very cute. Thank you so much, love. Yes, he said it's a dead zone for cells. My dad's house is the same way. It's iffy service. I've not heard anyone say this. That's exactly what I'm seeing, Kim. Okay, put a 1 in the chat if you've never heard that before. Why have we not heard about the cell phone service until now? Thank you. Thank you. I've not heard this until 34 days later. They've used Starlink? Because I think it's a different cell phone providers can only get straight talk in my ear. I mean, you've heard this, Mag? You've heard this? He was on the OneStar something. OnStar? They have Starlink Jr. Huh.
That could be an issue in terms of tracking the cell phones that were in the area, which I hadn't thought about. Also,
that's very weird to me. That's very weird to me where she lives, that there's not like good cell phone service when there's a convenience store and all kinds of stores right down the street. You know what I mean? That's just weird to me.
So they have an interesting theory about why the suspect could actually be not only from Tucson, but like from the vicinity of Nancy's neighborhood, which is kind of creepy to think about.
The theory is that this is from Nancy's, vicinity of neighborhood. Again, they are checking right outside of Nancy Guthrie's home now, about a mile out where the traffic cameras are today. FBI agents was outside there today. They seem more focused, according to the neighbors. Again, and it makes me wonder. I'm not saying that the Dailies are involved at all because they claim that they're innocent, have nothing to do with it. I want to make that clear. However, the Dailies' home is 2 miles out, about 2 miles. They went to that house, in my opinion, for a reason. This was federal. Did they go there? Why did they go there? Why did they go there? And they're now saying, because Brian has amazing sources, they are in this area and they're now saying that this is, they believe that the person who did this is close by.
And that could also be a reason the FBI may be having a hard time tracking the suspect's cell phone, because they're looking for irregular activity. And if the person was always in the neighborhood anyway, it wouldn't really stand out. Just one.
That's very interesting, right? Couple things you can think about that. Okay, well, yeah, they're looking for irregular activity. Is it possible Luke did not see the search warrant? Is that legal? I would be very surprised if he didn't see the search warrant. I'll just say that. I'd be very, very surprised. But yeah, from what I understand, he claims he didn't. Or his attorney at least did, allegedly. But they're looking for irregular activity. Okay. In the neighborhood. Let's think about this a second. If there is, whoever this is, it's telling us that this person or persons came to this neighborhood often or lives in the neighborhood or lives there, right? Or is close by in the vicinity. Or this person came to Nancy's even a lot, perhaps. Because if there is, if this was somebody that Nancy didn't know or whatever, and this is potentially a stranger, like just have no idea who she is, never in the neighborhood, and they're there during the time of the crime, well, that would be an anomaly that would stand out. So that's interesting. Very interesting. How far is they are? How far are they? Like 8 miles, something like that. I can't remember.
One theory that they had, but I'm still in Tucson, hoping for a break in the case soon. I'll keep you guys posted if anything happens. Hey guys, so it's day 33 in the search.
I think there's going to be a break soon. I don't think Brown would be there this long otherwise, in my opinion. It is so dark you can't see your hand in front of you. Does anyone know the name of Luke's attorney? Oh God, I played him yesterday. The perp can assimilate into the community. Could be the person you pass on the street, but the perp is also in panic mode, but you will not be able to tell. Oh, absolutely. You have to think beyond the desert, in my opinion. I agree with all of that, Mary, except the last part. I think they are in that desert. I think Nancy is at a very strategic location. I think it's probably in a location where this individual is probably able to keep an eye on where she is, in my opinion, but very close. Very close. How often did Miss Nancy book Duber? Good question. Don't know. I can't. I just think it's again, I'm still not. I think it's very weird that they went to Tommaso's house and all that so many times already that and again, searching outside and all that. Can't get over it. Sorry. Just can't.
Until hell freezes over. What about it, Bethany?
Speak it, Nancy.
If she suspected him, Nancy, there would be massive division within the family. This brother-in-law would not even be living with the family. He would be somewhere else. He would be with his own.
1 second.
Brother-in-law. Drink it in. That from our friends at Fox News. Okay, straight out to Dr. Bethany Marshall, renowned psychoanalyst, joining us out of the LA jurisdiction. She is author of Deal Breaker. You can see her now on Peacock and find her at drbethanymarshall.com. But I can tell you this much.
Okay.
I know Savannah from way back when we worked together at Court TV. And I can tell you this, Dr. Bethany Marshall, she would not wrap her arm around a guy that she suspected in her mother's kidnap until hell freezes over.
Um, I mean, Nancy knows Savannah. I don't. But I would also say that I can't imagine. I don't know if it's even possible to think that someone you know or love or care about could do something like this as well.
What about it, Bethany?
If she suspected him, Nancy, there would be massive division within the family. This brother-in-law would not even be living with the family. He would be somewhere else. He would be with his own relatives. But it appears that he is united with Savannah and with Annie Guthrie. He has been living with his wife. And I think, Nancy, that he has been targeted because he's a man. He may be one of the lower wage earners in the family. He has things that makes him vulnerable and a target to the public. But that family.
Now, I'll be the first to say I don't think that is Tommaso in this suspect video. I don't at all. I don't think that's Tommaso at all. Right? But I do find it weird that, again, it seems like they have never left their home and their cars alone, at least one of the vehicles. Right? And I will say, just because you are not in the video, or just because you are not at a crime scene or an abduction, doesn't mean that's all there is to it either, in my opinion. Now, Nancy has vehemently really taken up for them as far as, because there's been other, I would say, previous journalists that has spoken early on that they believe that Tommaso was one of the people that they were looking at. So, yeah.
Loves him. He's the son-in-law. He's the brother-in-law. He's there. And I think it is tragic.
Hold on a second. I want to check something. I want to check something. 1 second. Because I don't think that he is, I don't think it's him walking on that porch at all, but I just want to see something. Let me slow this down. I want to see how he walks. Give me a second. I'm going to slow it down.
The lower wage earners in the family. He has things that makes him vulnerable and a target to the public. But that family loves him. He's the son-in-law. He's the brother-in-law. He's there. And I think it is tragic that the family has had yet.
Okay, his left foot, Tommaso's left foot, it goes out a little bit. I just wanted to see that. Watch this. Let me pull it back when they first play it here. Watch it.
He would be with his own relative. He would be in the family. This brother-in-law would not even be living with the family. He would be somewhere else. He would be with his own relatives. But it appears that he is united with Savannah and with Annie Guthrie. He has been living with his wife. And I think, Nancy, that he has been targeted because he's a man. He may be one of the lower wage earners in the family. He has things that makes him vulnerable and a target to the public. And he may be one of the lower wage earners in the family. He has things that makes him vulnerable and a target to the public. But that family loves him. He's the son-in-law. He's the brother-in-law. He's there. And I think it is tragic.
You see what I mean? See, Justin, look at how he holds his hands when he makes a fist with both hands. When does he make a fist with both hands? I need to look at. I don't think it's him at all, personally, with him being on the porch at all. Like whoever the
That the family has had yet another assault, which is an assault on their own family member.
Guys, you are seeing footage from our friends at Fox News. The son-in-law breaking cover after being attacked and maligned in the news. Okay, Dave Mack joining us, Crime Stories investigative reporter. Tell me about what we're seeing right now.
What you're actually seeing is Savannah's first public appearance. She has only been seen on video since this story broke. This is her first public appearance, and it is at the home of her mother. You notice that makeshift memorial was set up just off Nancy Guthrie's property because it was just done by neighbors and friends coming by and setting it up just off the property. But
there was I want to make it clear that Luke and Kayla, Kayla is not related to Savannah or the Guthries in any way, shape, or form. There was YouTubers putting out misinformation about that. Never. She was never, ever, ever, ever. She's not related to them at all. At all. Okay, here we go.
There you're looking at Savannah and Tommaso and Annie, and all of them cleared of any involvement in this case. But as you mentioned, Tommaso has taken a lot of heat, and him showing up, and when you see them all arm in arm, it really does give you that sense of unity that they have been projecting. Now, Cameron, Savannah's older brother, he's not present. We don't know if he is in Arizona or if he's gone back home. We don't know that yet. But we have seen the cleared. And then, again, seeing this unity and placing a card at the memorial. Very, very emotional, Nancy. Very emotional.
And we know at the very get-go, there's our video from our friends at Fox. Oh, my stars. Dr. Bethany, before I show our next video, I could hardly stand to look at the flowers when my dad passed away. I could hardly stand it. It reminded me so much of the flowers when my fiance was murdered. To this day, I cannot stand to be around a carnation. It physically, to this day, makes me feel nauseous from Keith's funeral. But that said, that is heartbreaking right there. That is heartbreaking. Them walking up to that and knowing they're on camera to boot at their mom's flat.
I will say it's got to be very uncomfortable grieving like that in public while there's cameras on you. That would be very difficult, in my opinion, for sure.
Our honorarium, and I'm not saying memorial because I don't care what anybody says. I'm not giving up hope. There is still a hope we can bring her home alive. Yes, I'm no idiot. I know the odds, but I'm still believing. But what they're going through is hell without the brother being tried and executed, tarred and feathered in the press.
The tarred and feather, Nancy, as I said earlier, it's yet another assault on the family. Nancy, they are out there placing flowers at the memorial for one very specific reason, besides their love for their mother. They want us to keep praying and hoping. They rely on the public, on the neighbors, on the news, on people like you to keep this story alive, to keep the investigation ongoing. So they are encouraging us, the public. And tragically, Nancy, Those flowers are yellow. You know the song Tie a Yellow Ribbon Around the Old Oak Tree? It was about bringing our veterans home or bringing our soldiers home. This is a plea from the public to bring Nancy Guthrie home. That is what the yellow means, and that's why they are placing yellow flowers there. They desperately want their mother home.
One of the digital forensic experts that helped crack the Brian Kohberger case. And remember, he went back and back and back to the scene of the crime. And we're going to talk about why people do that. And did this killer do it? For Pete's sake, Nanos, I hope you're recording people coming back to the scene. Also, co-author of Practical Mobile Forensics, now in its 4th edition. What does that mean? That means it's in such demand that as each year passes, they update it to have the newest and the very best information in that. Okay, Heather, thank you for being with us. Now, let's talk about something I do understand as opposed to body language. What would the FBI and Nanos, if somebody explained to him what to do to rule out the son-in-law?
There has to be a fine-tooth comb going through every digital artifact that belongs to him. Your phone has all the truth. Who do you communicate with? What do you search for? Where are you? What is your alibi? In order for someone to be cleared, you have to understand the due diligence that went into play here. So it's awful that people are still pointing the fingers back. It just keeps terrorizing the family.
Okay, Heather, let me tell you what I read on X, aka Twitter, right before we came to air. All right. I read all of the ideas, and some of them are really very good. One person is now blaming the daughter, Annie. They're taking the picture of Annie.
Okay. This wasn't the one. I'm going to go to Inton real quick because I forgot to show y'all something, and I need to pull up the other part of. I pulled up the one Nancy did today, not the one I was trying to show you. 1 second, guys. I want to show you something here that's very, very interesting. Maybe if I can get it here. Okay. Get this right here. Check this out. Guys, do me a favor. Hit that thumbs up button if you're just joining us.
Headlines get quiet. But in my years of experience in law enforcement, I've learned something very different.
This is a judge and a previous law enforcement officer.
The moment that a case goes quiet it's often the moment it becomes dangerous, because that's when investigators, they stop looking for possibilities and they start proving a theory. And while a lot of channels here have moved on to louder stories, I'm not going to move on from Nancy Guthrie.
I like
today. I want to show you what may be happening beneath the silence and why this phase could matter more than any headline that we've seen so far. So let's talk about it today. And we don't chase noise here. We only follow the evidence. So let's take it a little bit slower today, because when a case enters a quiet phase like this, people naturally start assuming that nothing is happening. And I've noticed something else.
Listen to this.
A lot of the loud voices, the sensational headlines, the channels chasing constant breaking news, they've all gone quiet too. When the easy headlines disappear, the coverage fades. But I want to say this clearly to you today. I'm not going quiet.
Not here. We see it through. We are with a bone and we are not letting go.
On this case, I'm going to keep talking about Nancy Guthrie. I'm going to keep analyzing, and I'm going to keep asking the hard questions until answers are found. And I hope that you do the same. You know, in this video, I'm going to address many of the concerns and questions that I keep seeing from you down in the comments, because honestly, many of you are asking the exact questions investigators would be asking at this stage. You know, the quiet phase is often when the real work begins.
Okay, I'm pulling it up.
And
thank you.
After years of experience, I can tell you, silence doesn't mean nothing is happening.
Exactly.
It usually means the work has moved behind closed doors. And right now, this investigation, it looks less like a search and more like a case being built.
Yep. Thank you.
You know, one of the biggest questions I keep seeing about this scene.
Thank you.
You know, let's start with this. You know, the blood near the front door, that wasn't just evidence. It was a contradiction. Nancy Guthrie was an elderly woman with limited mobility. Yet, investigators reportedly find no prolonged struggle, no chaotic damage, no obvious signs of forced violence from a stranger. Instead, what appears to exist is control. The cameras, they didn't simply fail. They were disabled sequentially. And all that matters. Random offenders, they create chaos.
Thank you.
They could trigger alarms. They rush and they make mistakes.
This is, I guess, Judge Brewer, and he is, I don't know if he is a judge now or was a former judge, and he definitely was former.
Precision, it suggests familiarity. You know, someone who understood the property, someone who knew where cameras were placed, and someone who knew how to move without creating noise. That's the kind of detail that shifts investigative attention inward rather than outward. Now,
inward.
Let's look at what investigators didn't find. You know, blood near the threshold, but no trail continuing outside. No drag marks, no obvious transfer.
See, that's what I said. No drag marks, nothing like that. It's just
evidence across the gravel. And that raises an immediate investigative question. How do you move someone with limited mobility without leaving trace evidence?
Preach it, girl. Preach it.
You know, when evidence suddenly stops, investigators begin thinking about containment. You know, like a transport device or a wheelchair, a prepared method, or a vehicle positioned strategically. That's not speculation. It's reconstruction logic.
101.
You know, when the physical story doesn't make sense, you look for preparation. And preparation usually tells investigators this wasn't random. Now,
Judge Brewer,
let's talk about something that clearly marked a shift. The impoundment of a family vehicle. This is something that keeps popping up in our comments. You know, law enforcement does not take that step casually. You know, modern vehicles, they're rolling data recorders. They capture door openings, seat weight changes, GPS movement, ignition cycles, trunk access, time stamps tied to activity. Investigators, they aren't only searching for DNA or fibers. They're extracting telematics. They're rebuilding timeline. If vehicle data contradicts a statement, you
You're
know,
fucked.
if weight sensors show unexpected activity,
So there's obviously weight sensors in your vehicle. It knows if there's an adult, if there's a kid in your seats. It'll know how many's sitting in the seats as well, all of that. Let's say, for instance, someone said that they took Nancy home, and they were sitting in the passenger seat. Nancy was sitting in the passenger seat, but in the telematics, that it doesn't show that there is someone in. Well, no, not well. Yeah, if it'll show if the seat is belted, but even if the seat is not belted, it will show that there is someone in that seat. And just think about it, because your seat belt goes ding, 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 ding if you're not in your seat belt. So it will still show that there is someone in that seat. It'll just ding. But if the story was, given, yeah, I drove her home. She was in the passenger seat. We talked about this on the way home or whatever. And it doesn't say that there's anything or anyone in said seat. That's going to be a problem. That's going to be a problem.
movement patterns don't align with explanations. That's when investigators' theory starts moving toward evidence-based certainty. Another major question involves the forced entry indicators. To the public eye, broken entry suggests a burglary, but investigators, they ask something different. Was it necessary?
Bingo.
If someone already had access, damage can serve another purpose: narrative control.
Yes, to throw you off.
Staging exists to explain presence.
Bingo.
It doesn't prove guilt alone, but in combination with other factors, it becomes part of a behavioral pattern investigators study carefully. Then you look at the ransom angle. Messages directed toward media rather than family.
Mm-hmm.
Cryptocurrency demands time.
Why would this individual writing this ransom letter, why would they send it to Harvey at TMZ and 2 local media stations and not send it to the family members? If it's the first thing in a letter, think about this, in a ransom letter, if you go to the police, he or she's dead. 101. You don't want this big scene of eyes being on you whenever there is any sort of ransom letter. You don't send it to TMZ or whatever. You send it directly to the family. JonBenet Ramsey even letter, which is, in my opinion, highly suspicious. It was a novel pretty much, but it said, you go to the police, she's dead. That is ransom note 101. They don't want people outside of this to know. Give us the money, you can have her back. That's another reason why I think she's alive. I don't think she's.
Something that appears delayed. That doesn't typically fit organized abduction behavior.
Exactly. 3 or 4 days later. You're going to say 3 to 4 days later, you're going to contact the media. You don't want her with you more than a few hours, 24 hours max. Let's just get this done. You want your money? You give her back. That's all you want.
You know, professional kidnappers control communication tightly from the start. Delayed messaging often looks more like an attempt to create a narrative after the fact. Investigators, they always ask who benefits from that narrative. And I want to pause here for just a second because many of you in the comments keep bringing up details that are thoughtful and observant. And honestly, some of those questions are exactly the same ones that professionals ask whenever they're building timeline. So keep sharing your thoughts.
I like this guy. I really like this guy. He doesn't seem to have this big ass ego, and he seems to just be a genuine person, which I really appreciate. And I just like a good Southern, you know, old hard school fair police officer, judge, or whatever.
Because you're seeing things that matter. You know, another major signal is prosecutors walking the scene. These are all comments that we're seeing in the comments. You know, that's important. When prosecutors enter, the focus, it shifts. The question changes from what happened to can we prove it in court? Evidence gets reviewed through a legal lens. You know, consistency,
patterns. Sometimes you can know something, but you can't prove
chain
something.
of custody, probable cause thresholds. That means strategy is now involved, not just investigation. And let me say something carefully here. If the person responsible in this case is paying attention, this is usually the phase where confidence starts to fade, you know, because investigators, they're no longer gathering random possibilities. They're aligning evidence against statements. Timelines tighten. Pressure becomes real. And that pressure, it grows quietly. Now, the house has been released. Some teams step back. The public sees quiet and assumes slowdown, but this is all normal.
I'm going to share that link with you guys so you can watch the rest of it as well. Very, very good guy. I really like him. I'm going to follow him. He's on Facebook. I don't guess he's on YouTube that I'm aware of. But the FBI, a lot of them did go back to their home office, and they have more resources there that they can work on. He's on YouTube as well. Okay, I did not know that. Okay, I really like him a lot. Okay, we're going to go to Brian Ensign. Very interesting information I'm hearing here.
On violent crime task force shirts and just going up to doors, talking to people. They went inside some people's houses. But again, for those who've been like, oh, is it a cold case? I mean, another example that it's not. I mean, they're out pounding the pavement. Clearly, there are things that they know that we don't know. So I'm going to get to I mentioned to you guys that I spoke to the digital experts who went through Brian Koberger's cell phone. I'm going to get to them in a minute. But first, I want to go to Maureen O'Connell, retired FBI agent, to talk a little bit about the action that we saw on the ground today, what that might mean, and have her expand further on some of the other developments that came in today.
Very interesting here.
I'm joined now by Maureen O'Connell, a retired FBI agent. It's nice to see you, Maureen, as always.
Always good to see you.
Couple of things I want to talk to you about that just happened. First of all, I was just at the house. There are FBI teams that are, and it's like a task force. Some of them are in the FBI, some of them are the sheriff's office, because there's now this task force that's formed. And I actually wrote down on the back of their shirts, it said Violent Crime Task Force. And they've been going to different doors. And
did you hear that violent crime task force? And from the get-go, Sheriff Nanos said that, as we watched last night in that very, very first press conference thing that he did outside of Nancy's house on day one, he said there was things inside the house that was very, very concerning. And obviously there's something violent.
Neighbors. One of the neighbors I spoke to, who I know just from being out there so long, told me that there wasn't anything significantly new that they were asking, but he said he got the feeling that they were more confident this time. Like, he just said he had a feeling of confidence, like things were moving in the right direction. What do you think they're?
That's really good to hear. That's really good to hear. And again, there is reporting that the case is actually red hot, that people are saying, oh no, this is fading, all of this, that it's actually quite the opposite, that it's red hot right now. And maybe they're buttoning up some things
out there doing today. Yeah, that was good, I thought.
Right. The Violent Crime Task Force, those are always your alpha dogs, and they do a great job. They take no prisoners. They go exactly where they need to go to get whatever it is they need done. And they really do,
I believe that,
get it done. They're exploring everything. They're all out of the box thinkers as a general rule. And I'm sure that those Pima County Sheriff deputies that are part of this task force are loving life right now. They'll have some great resources. What exactly did they say to the neighbor? What were they looking for?
So the neighbor was trying to be careful with me. Like, you know, he's a good guy. Like, he didn't want to tell me their full conversation, you know, but he said that it was a lot of the same stuff that we already knew about, but that they seemed more focused.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to kind of read between the lines of what he was saying. And but he said, it's nothing that you guys haven't talked about before. They just seem more focused this time.
Well, that's good.
What do you think that means?
Well, when you're focused, obviously you're not scattered. You have something to focus on. You're looking in a certain direction, and the evidence is leading you in that direction. So that,
I believe, this is my opinion. This is just my opinion, but I believe if any of the investigators are going to tell anyone on the ground anything, it's going to be Brian, because he will not spill the beans. He won't. He's rock solid until he can put it out. And I just feel like Brian is there waiting for it to break. Maybe for a reason.
is a good sign. The fact that they're optimistic gives me optimism.
Yeah.
I feel very good about it. We've had way too many close calls where we thought it was going to be the big break, and it turned out to be an absolute nothing burger. And, it's just hard going up and down and up and down and hoping and praying, and then it just all falls apart. So the fact that the investigators themselves are looking up, that gives me hope. It gives me a lot of hope, actually.
There's something else I've been wondering about that I wanted to get your take on. You obviously heard that the glove that they found 2.5 miles away, they got the DNA results back, and it did you hear about this? It was to a restaurant worker.
Yes, that makes sense, because I've said from the beginning, those guys wear those gloves all the time.
Yeah, and I never really honestly took any of those gloves seriously. I mean, they're all over the place, and the one right on the side of the road. But here's the part that I'm trying to figure out. We had already reported that when they got the DNA from the glove, they put it in CODIS, and there was no match. That was an official statement we got, like a week ago or something. I think it was like February 15th or around there.
Wait a second. I thought they said that it wasn't enough of a DNA profile to be put into CODIS. That's what I always That's what I was reading, that it wasn't enough of a DNA profile to put into CODIS.
So
let's see what he says.
I'm wondering, how did they have the restaurant workers' DNA? You know what I mean?
Good question.
Very fucking good question. That's a very good question. I mean, listen, you can have anybody's DNA, but you got to put that DNA to a person. What do you mean, Sherry?
Would he be the first restaurant worker ever that had something in his background? Or could have, if when you put it in CODIS, if your cousin's in CODIS, depending on what the crime is, I mean, you could,
Yeah, it could be a felon. I get that. They take the DNA. I get that the restaurant worker could be a felon, but gotcha. Hold on, let me check this. Okay, Nancy Guthrie. Let's see here, CODIS. Okay. Investigation into Nancy Guthrie's case turned into genetic genealogy for DNA leads, a tactic that cracked big cases. Okay. The sheriff department has said the DNA was collected at the property isn't from Guthrie in the close contact with her, that investigators were working on to identify who it came from. The department said the DNA analysis was underway on biological evidence recovering during the investigation, and the process could be lengthy. Sources close to the investigation told CBS, this is Savannah's, where she works, right? News that the concern that the DNA found at the home may not yield a usable profile for comparisons in the database. However, another law enforcement source said that even a low-level sample can be enhanced by specific scientific techniques in the lab, but the process would take longer. When investigators obtained DNA in the case, they tried to match it to the entities in the national database by the FBI known as the Combined DNA Index System, or CODIS. The database contained DNA profiles of individuals with the previous arrest or certain crimes who had supplied DNA samples. The sheriff's department also recovered DNA from a set of gloves found about 2 miles away from the Nancy Guthrie house, but eventually traced them back to a nearby restaurant worker who has no connection to the investigation. The department noted that the investigators were looking into the investigative genetic genealogy options. Maybe the only thing I can think of is that they traced him back with genealogy, but that would be very fucking quick. That would be very quick. That's what I'm saying. Was it usable or not? It's a former deputy chief said he spent 25 years with the NYPD investigation, and says, okay, news that genetic genealogy is essential of the final effort to match a DNA sample to a person who collected the evidence, and searching in CODIS, if there is no direct or partial match in the federal or state database, if this perpetrator has a relative that is convicted offender in the database, you build a family tree around it. He also said, you're throwing a wide net. You're looking for cousins. Very interesting.
Now, if you have a
Listen to that again.
worker ever that had something
Listen
in
to
his
this again.
background, or could have, if when you put it in CODIS, if your cousin's in CODIS, depending on what the crime is, I mean, you could, if you have a family member in there, you could maybe find that out.
So because he wasn't, they said there was no match in CODIS, but then they said that it was a restaurant worker and he's not involved. So I'm just still trying to figure out how they pieced that.
Well, if there was no match in CODIS, maybe his fingerprints were on file for something that wasn't a felony.
Okay.
Like a DUI or something like that. Because when you turn that.
Yeah, I mean, their fingerprints could have been on the inside of the glove. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Glove inside out, you're probably going to have a fingerprint on the inside. Not so much with the case of our offender because he had gloves on under it, but a regular person that's wearing just those gloves, you'll have a fingerprint on the interior of that glove.
Do you think, and this is something I talked to Jim about the other day, I always just, my gut told me there was more than one person involved, just maybe there was someone around the back. But the more I think about this $1 million reward and that no one has come forward yet, like a getaway driver or an accomplice, and you and I have talked about this, someone who just wants the money and can maybe work out a deal with prosecutors, could that be more of an indication that this is just a one-man job?
No.
It could be, but it could also be the case of whoever the architect is of this.
Yes.
This caper. He could just be, hey, yeah, you can go for $1 million, and guess what? I'm going to blame the whole thing on you.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could just keep your mouth shut, keep your head down,
Exactly.
and I'll give you, whatever money he has or he thinks he's getting from another source or something. I'll give you $250,000 in cash, and that's or something, and you're not going to go to prison. But if you open your mouth and you blame me, I'm blaming you. Or there's all kinds of ways that these guys can just dominate these people.
So
and maybe he's afraid he's going to get killed.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, maybe he's
right.
afraid
Or
he's gonna
maybe,
get in trouble.
or maybe he was, if there is an accomplice, was heavily involved in the whole thing.
Bingo.
Was just as involved as the one guy we saw in video.
Right.
Yep.
What about the DNA in the house? Obviously the DNA from the glove has come back,
Yes.
but we hear mixed and we've heard there's issues with it. I mean, do you think it's going to be salvageable? Is it just going to take more time?
Yeah.
That's the best case scenario right now. And if they're doing forensic genetic genealogy, that's going to take time also, because you have to go all the way back to, like great grandparents and then work your way back down. But you're always looking for someone who's who spent time in Tucson or lives right around there or works around here somehow. And once you get to this certain, once you get back to the great grandparents and you start reverse building this family tree, then when you get to a certain point, oftentimes that's where law enforcement will help you with their databases, and we'll find guys here with that name or any of these people, and once they find out who they think it might be, then they have to get their discarded DNA first to really tie them to the crime before they can hook them up.
That's a very, very, very good point. So think about this. After they do genealogy, right? And they do this all the time. That's RAPE. That's hasn't been solved in 30 years, or murder in 30 years or whatever. When they do these cases and they do genealogy and they find out who they believe the person is, they still have to get their DNA, and yeah, they can get a warrant potentially to get their DNA if they have enough, but they probably don't have enough, because the reason they're doing this is because of the genealogy. If they had more sources, I mean, they can get a warrant, but they generally are waiting for surveillancing this person to throw a cup out or throw a cigarette out, something with their DNA on it. And then once they get this person throws out their trash, they'll collect the trash or whatever. They get that DNA. Then they have to obviously test the DNA with the genealogy. And if it connects, then there's going to be an arrest very quick.
It's time.
It takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
And it takes patience. And, through each step of this process, you have to make sure you're doing the right thing and you're doing it the right way. And there's a lot of weight on the shoulders because you don't want to be the person.
Absolutely.
You don't want to be the link in the chain that breaks the case in a way that can't be prosecuted properly. You want to be part of the team doing the right stuff at the right time to bring this whole investigation to a logical conclusion and get someone behind bars. And find out exactly what happened to Nancy.
Right. Later in this episode, I'm talking to, I don't know if you know them, Heather and Jared Barnhart. They're the experts who went through Brian Kohberger's phone. They were hired, I think, by the FBI to, dissect the entire phone. So they understand that really well. And one thing that they believe is, they said with cell phones, you look for irregularities, like with pings to towers and stuff.
Yep.
And
listen to this.
They're like, if the suspect is from the neighborhood or from that area, there wouldn't be an irregularity with their phone being around there. And that could possibly be a reason that, we haven't seen more progress. Have you thought about whether the person could be someone very, very close in proximity to Nancy's house?
I absolutely do, because it's happened so many times. I mean, if you look at the numbers, it's more often than not someone that's really close. And that's something CeCe Moore said the other night when I...
And think about, just like earlier I was talking about Michael Vaughn case. Michael Vaughn was a 5-year-old little boy who was abducted July 27th, 2021. And he's one of the only stranger abductions I have covered, because there is just a handful every year. Very, very rare. But even Michael Vaughn's case, that was something that it was so rare for a stranger to abduct someone, a kid. This was the same neighborhood as him. Same neighborhood. Couple streets over. Very, very close. Very, very close. And I believe this is close.
Watched an interview with her. She talked about looking for all these people and bringing them back. And you find out even with Kohberger, everyone in his family was back in Pennsylvania. But one member of the family was right in very close proximity. Now, could this be a neighbor? Yes. If it's a neighbor, then you're right. That phone will have been in that area. But I think you might find that the activity still might be unusual for that particular person for that night. Like,
yeah, we're generally doing the same thing at the same hour every day. We are creatures of habit. If this person was not on, its phone, or if the phone was turned off, there's still probably going to be an abnormality there.
For example, if we're thinking of a family member of Savannah's, let's say when they're ruling the family members out, they're not only looking to see if the phone was at home all night, but they're going to look at that phone every night for the last 100 days or something. When this person gets up in the middle of the night, do they grab their phone and take it with them? If the answer is yes, why did they not do it on this one particular night? That, do they, every time they turn over and wake up a little, do they pick their phone up, tilt it sideways, see what time it is, check a message? Yes. Why didn't they do it this night? It's this absence of normalcy. So even though he may be a person in the neighborhood, they're going to be looking for patterns. A lot of it is about patterns.
There's something, and maybe it's just because I've spent so much time in the neighborhood, that really creeps me out thinking about it being someone close.
I know. Because it means the other neighbors aren't safe either. They may be now, but they won't be in the future if we can't find this person. It's a lot of pressure, but it's
Before allegedly.
what law enforcement
Lydia.
signed up for, but it's very, very frustrating. You think it's frustrating for us. You should be them. It's awful. You just, that's what you do every night when you wake up. Is there an update? Well, I know you do that anyways, Brian.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what is it like when you're working a big case like this as an agent?
Well, it depends on what kind of a case it is. I mean, we worked a couple of big gang cases, really big gang cases
I
where
doubt it if it's. I mean, could be.
you're
I
worried
doubt
about
it.
an informant and you're hoping they're okay and you're hoping you did everything you were supposed to do to keep them safe. And then you're also worried about someone in prison who you're trying to get them to cooperate with you. And am I really sure that I did everything I could so that no one would know I was an FBI agent when I went in there or whatever? I mean, there's just, you worry about, women will say as a mom, you don't know what it's like to worry until you become a mom. Yes.
DEA, they were there. Or hold on, do you mean the one around Tommaso's house? Our driveway is blocked off with a row of rocks. The other driveway is chained off. Is that the one you mean, DEA? It is creepy. Brian is in the neighborhood every day. Yeah. If Nancy is close, Annie also is going to move to one in my list because they have a lot of unaccountable time and their home was photographed in the car. I still can't get over it. Still can't.
You do if you're an FBI agent or a police officer or detective. You worry all the time about everybody. And if your neighbors know what you do for a living, they're constantly hitting you up for,
I think they're possibly been using
ridiculousness. Like I had when my son was probably 3, the ladies behind me, every time we had Santa Ana winds, they were trying to get me to, someone's up on my roof. Can you go up and see? You want me to get out of bed, go up on your roof to look for.
I bet knowing you though, you probably did it.
No, I did not because
No?
I'm like, it's Santa Ana winds and these palm fronds, look at the ground. They're everywhere. They fly like missiles. That's what's on your roof.
Do you think so? I confirmed yesterday that now it's 4 detectives and a sergeant from the sheriff's office. So 5 people who have moved over to the FBI task force. They're all now in the FBI building in Tucson.
That's great news.
That sounds good, right? I mean, it's focused.
It's great.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess many think Maureen is too direct also. I appreciate someone being direct, to be honest with you. I get their sensitivities and stuff that, we all need to respect at times. But also, like, say your opinion, you know what I mean? And I love how she says her opinion. It's true crime. True crime is not pretty. It's not glamorous. It's true crime. And, if you don't like kind of like deep dives, then you should probably be the type that listens to a 5-minute news clip. You know what I mean? So I appreciate the bluntness.
Because that squad operates autonomously. They know what has to be done. They know what they have to do, and they don't like people breathing down their necks because they don't need it. And they're like stallions. You gotta let them run. And when you do, you're going to get results. When you're all piled into this, the office you guys had there, that's when all the bosses come in. They all want to chat. They want to see what's up. Can you show us yours? These guys are all like, dude, take a hike. We're busy here. And they're it's a tough crowd to deal with. It would be like it'd be like the homicide guys sitting having lunch. You can't walk up if you're a boot or you're a big boss. They don't want to talk to you. They just stare you down. That's the kind of people we need on this case. I think they're the kind of people that are really going to affect change and figure this thing out. Because having first of all, if there was all this consternation between the FBI and the sheriff, or from the sheriff to the FBI, who knows? Who cares? it's just a distraction.
It's
No one
politics.
needs a distraction when you have this kind of work to do. Just keep your head down, keep your ammo dry, and keep moving forward and get her done.
Yep.
I spoke with the United Cajun Navy yesterday. I don't know if you've heard much about them. They've been here wanting to search.
Yeah.
They have this like 42-page plan that they presented to the sheriff. They have 25 canines they can bring in. They have aerial support. They have drones, but they don't want to do it without the sheriff's approval. And, you know, they want to work with the sheriff, and the sheriff has not responded for a week and doesn't seem interested. Do you think
So
that's
why
a
don't
good
they go
thing?
out and do it? They should just go out and do it. Or I should come there with you and we should rent some horses and go out ourselves, and I'll grid it out for us. And
You don't need their permission. I mean, I understand that a lot of times, like, you want the law enforcement's blessings and stuff, but just go fucking search, man. Like, get on with it. I agree.
you know, I mean, since you're not allowed on the street anymore, hardly.
Yeah, it's been tough with the streets. We have to park so far away and walk in, which is a pain. Especially, it's getting hotter now, you know. Yeah, most of it. It's interesting. There's a new sign out there I saw today. You know, where the sort of the people are leaving candles and signs for Nancy. There's one sign that says, "Media, please don't go." You know,
Aw.
everyone will move on if you
Did
leave,
y'all
which
see
is
that
nice
sign?
because most of
Did y'all see that sign? It said, "Media, please don't go." That
the neighbors have been really nice, and like happy that we're there. There's been a couple. I think there was someone yesterday who like called us maggots. And you
That
know,
wasn't very nice.
no, it wasn't. And there was this other lady. What did she do?
Maggots.
Yeah, there was this other lady who had like walking by with a golden retriever, and you know, I had a golden retriever. So I'm like, "Oh, can I pet your dog?" And she said, "No," and just like turned. You know, so some of them are like, and I get it. I mean, we've been in their neighborhood for a month. You know.
Well, if it's one thing to have you guys there, but generators and everything, that's another level
Yeah,
for people
yeah.
that are used to complete silence.
Yeah, and the drones are annoying too. You know, there's
Yeah.
not as many now, but a lot of the media had drones. Do you think? I mean, you've said you don't think this is a cold case. Do you think
I
we're
don't.
getting? Do you think we're getting closer? Like, do you think days, weeks, months? What did your gut tell you?
Yeah, so they're asking for more. My understanding is there was some ask today for more information or something like that. But my sense is when they go dark, they go deep, and you know, now they're hot on a trail, or they're
what I say? Yeah,
like they're working it. When you start, if you're standing there like, "Hey,
they're on
everybody,
the
give me
beat.
whatever you've got. I don't have anything," and that's all you're hearing, that's, you know,
They're on the beat.
worrisome to most of us. But if they're not asking that every day, they're working into the leads, and that's good. You know, I mean, they've got a lot of stuff going on. They've got a lot of different silos, and they're all firing. And they're in different places too. Like, for example, all the computer stuff, all the phone stuff, those guys are not in the same room as these task force guys you're talking about. They're having a meeting probably once a day or maybe once every 3 days, who knows? But you set that up as part of your incident command. Like, "Hey guys, how often are we going to get together?" But you always have an open line of communication between whoever is someone on that task force. So if I'm in one section and I find something that I think might be a hot tip, I'm calling right over or walking right over to that task force saying, "Guys, I think I found something. One of you guys want to take a look at it with me?" And that's the type of communication you really want to see happen, because that's where the magic happens.
As always, I really appreciate Maureen for taking the time to
Yeah. Yep. I just want to play this little part right here, and then this is very interesting right here.
with the Nancy Guthrie case.
Sure. Yeah, thanks for the question.
Actually be from Nancy Guthrie's neighborhood or the vicinity of her neighborhood. And like with
Okay, so these guys worked on the Koberger case. About why they come back.
with the Nancy Guthrie case.
Sure. Yeah, thanks for the question. Geofencing has been an evolving landscape in the last year to 2 years. I would say a few years ago, this was a simpler answer. You could sort of draw a box around an area in the world and send a search warrant to Google as law enforcement. And they would provide you back any advertising IDs. So an identifier on your mobile device that identifies you so that you get the right advertisements. they could identify that existing in that box in a period of time.
When you have the moment you get a phone, you have a permanent number, ID that is assigned to your phone. It can never be deleted. It can never be altered. It is the same. The moment that that phone is created, it is there. It is there. And again, it can't be altered. It can't be deleted. Law enforcement can't alter it. Law enforcement can't delete it. Any of that. Yeah, MEID. Yeah.
It was a very useful tool. It was used in a lot of investigations. In the last year to 2 years, some of the search warrants are getting replies that basically say, we no longer have this data. So Google's sort of response to it was they pushed that data down to local devices. So rather than them having an answer on their server to provide, they say it's on the device. So now you're looking for that suspect device. A little bit differently, I would say, is that's still certainly viable, is like a cell site location or a cell tower dump. So in that, you're saying in this area, in Nancy's home, the neighborhood there, which cellular tower services this region. And essentially it keeps a record of every device that connects to it that it services. Law enforcement is able to go chase down those records and then try to look for specific devices that are there a certain period of time. It's not as precise as the geofence warrants were, but it's still a viable option.
So now that it's been more than a month, is it safe to say whoever did this either didn't have their cell phone with them or turned their cell phone off? Because by this point, would they have been able to figure it out?
I mean, I think you would have to be a dum-dum to bring your cell phone with you whenever it seems to have been planned as much as it's been planned. When it comes to this, because this person has a backpack, they are dressed in the ski mask, all of that, which tells you it was planned. And obviously they were, or allegedly they were there a day or week or sometime before that. So I think that they tried to think of everything that they could, but I don't think they always think of everything. But I don't think they had
that way.
It's possible. And this is where it depends. How many records do they have? Each area, and if you think about it, I know cell service isn't great there, but they probably have multiple tower dumps. Each network service provider has a different way of storing that information. So if you're familiar with AT&T, that may differ from T-Mobile or Verizon. But they could be at a situation with finding a needle in a haystack. So we don't know the amount that they're looking through. And they also have to detect normal so that they can see what's abnormal or doesn't belong. And if it's someone that is right down the street, they're going to look normal anyway. So if you think about that perspective, it's challenging.
It's interesting you say that, because that's one thing I've thought a lot about. There's always sort of been this sense, even from law enforcement, that this could be someone from the area, like from Tucson.
That is one thing that they have always stated, that they believe that this person, even when they were writing the ransom letters, they said that they believe these people was from Tucson.
But I mean, it could even be someone from the neighborhood. And I guess that would make it more challenging from a digital forensics perspective.
Well, yeah, because that pattern would be normal. So if you look normal all the time and your pattern of behavior just blends, that makes it really difficult to see what doesn't belong. And that's something that helped us with Brian Koberger's device on how did he act every single day versus the night of the murders.
Yeah, because he didn't normally turn off his device, right? This was like a one-time thing.
Yeah, so he actually had a little bit larger pattern leading up to it. He started to take actions to leave a smaller digital footprint. So he started to use VPNs. He started to use private browsing. And then
Dumb. Lucky. Oh, good to see you, my dear. Thank you so much. Porch guy fits him. The last name could be the connection. Plus, he was Girani 11 in Catalina Foothills for sure. Check mail later and let me know. Okay. Did you emailed me? Okay, I'll look. I think maybe you emailed me a couple times. I think I emailed you back on one.
the night of,
Thank you
with
so much.
100% power, pressed the button and powered his phone off.
Oh, gotcha.
Hours
Okay.
later, pressing the button to turn it back on. In the time after that, we were able to see where he started to take off some of those measures. So now doing regular browsing and getting back to more of a normal activity. So him preparing for his crime created the digital footprint that we were able to find.
In Nancy's neighborhood,
Yep. I see your lucky. I see your email, and that's very interesting. I'm looking into that. Yeah, I'll email you back on that for sure. Very interesting. Yes.
I've spent so much time there now. I mean, in the middle of the night, there's not a lot of traffic through there. I mean, it's already a pretty quiet neighborhood, and then at like 2 a.m, there's just not a lot of people. It's a lot of older people that live there. There's not people driving around. It's very, very dark. I just go back to, if there was a cell phone on and the suspect had the cell phone, I don't think there would be that much other activity in that area, right?
Oh,
At
wait.
that time, like, wouldn't they have been able to narrow it down by now, do you think?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Ooh.
So it depends on a little bit of the landscape, and I haven't been there, so I'm not.
This is very interesting. Very interesting. You're going to have me digging all freaking night.
Familiar as you, but if you can sort of
Is
look
that Steve in
around,
here?
and if you can see a cell tower, you can sometimes get an idea of how many houses or how many devices or how many roads are between that servicing tower and her house. You then also have to think of beyond. If her house is within the servicing side of that tower that you can see, how much further does it go as well? It's kind of a dumb big capture of data, and essentially every single device serviced by that tower could be logged. So you could be working through tens of thousands of devices just for the residents that are there and supposed to be there.
Does that typically take a long time?
It definitely can. And this has been sort of a discussion point among some privacy concerns of why is my device being mentioned in the middle of an investigation just because I was at home or driving on a certain road. So logistically, it's very difficult to get the data and then discern which one thing in that big piece of data might be a suspect or an unknown, especially when you have any road that people might just drive through one time, highway, anything like that makes it very challenging.
The other interesting thing about where Nancy's house is there's very little cell phone service. There's like one bar, and I have AT&T, and some of my coworkers have Verizon, and it's pretty much across the board. But if you drive, a quarter of a mile away up on a hill, suddenly you've got full service. It's like she's kind of in a dead zone. Other parts of the neighborhood have great service, but her area right down there, just in that one little area, it's terrible. Would that have an impact?
Definitely. That is a little bit of a
just
nightmare
emailed you back
from an
on
investigative standpoint, because you're saying, as I sit here, I barely have service, which means that there's potentially times where devices are existing there and not connecting to the network that you pay to connect to. And that just causes problems with the data that you hope to find. As you said, if you drive to that place where you have great service, probably that same tower is trying to service that neighborhood, but the way you described it is like there's a visual block. So the tower has a tough time connecting to devices, and so that definitely creates a problem for the investigation, a challenge of, it wasn't a consistent connection if there was a device there, perhaps in this.
Okay. So interesting that Nanos has came out and spoke tonight. He did do another interview tonight, and we kind of went over that earlier. Hey, Amy Jo, good to see you, hun. I hate when he does that, Cherry. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I don't want to put anything out right now. But I get a lot of stuff. But this is very interesting what he sent me. He or she, I'll say, and I'm gonna go dig on it. I don't want to just like put it out immediately. You know what I mean? You need to do a little diligence on it. But all one has to do is either change the service or get a VPN. Yeah, but they can still get through that. As roaming works just fine here. Do they still have roaming? Does roaming still exist? Sending you a very important. Okay. Maureen, the FBI lady Judy was on a live earlier. She believes she's not too far. I believe she's within 12 miles of the house. I believe whoever did this is probably within 12 miles of the house as well. Oh, I see. Actually, never mind. I seen who it is, how they are related. Okay. I just read the other thing you sent me. I see how they're related. Not in my world, no roaming. The only time I've ever been roaming or something is like if I go to the UK, which when I go to the UK, I don't usually use my cell phone. I usually go buy like basically a burner phone. When I'm there, I buy like a $30 phone and I'll buy like some minutes. Roaming Wi-Fi, 5G signal, 4G LTE satellite signals. Yep. In some areas, some has involved with a lot of things. Yeah. Yep. All right, guys. That's it for me. It's my second live of the night. I will see you guys. If anything breaks, of course. It's been very quiet, and I think we're close. I really do. I'm going to work on some stuff as well, but I'm going to do it from the comfort of my bed. And like I said, if anything breaks, I'll be here. And otherwise, I will see you guys, Lord willing, tomorrow. Actually, technically, today here, because it's 12:50 in the morning. My God, I didn't think I was that late. Okay, Alicia, I'll read it, my dear. All right, guys. Good night, everyone. God bless each and every one of you. Justice for Nancy Guthrie. Good night.